As we go down here, we've got the oil pressure gauge here, and it also gives fuel pressure. There's a switch that can give one or the other. Over here is oil temperature and water temperature. Depending on what direction one of those switches are put over here, these two gauges serve two particular purposes. The largest one of all, of course, is the rev counter.
On the display here, so you have all of these lights here, so when you're accelerating, the lights, they increase up here, and this is, once they get to here, this one you shift up gears. And these, the two outer ones, you have when there's a yellow flag, the two yellow lights flash. If a red flag comes out, the bottom red lights come on.
Then we have two other gauges. This one over here gives out the number of laps left on fuel alone. In other words, out of an 80-lap race with 20 laps to go, if this gauge only read 18 laps, Alan Jones would have to back off the throttle to keep his fuel consumption down to give him the full race distance. Over here there's another readout. This is for the exhaust temperature. And this engine is a 6-cylinder engine split into two. The left-hand exhaust temperature and the right-hand exhaust temperature. There's a switch to be able to give both of those, and that is there. The left temperature and the right temperature. If these temperatures go up too high, an engine could blow.
It has like 26 buttons and switches altogether. We have our default switches here: pit speed limiter, neutral, entry diff, mid diff, high speed diff, KERS harvest, engine mixture, torque and bite point, torque and engine braking, tire switch, and default switch, which is also a menu switch, so you can have all these different options. DRS, launch for the start.
These two here, these two things are to adjust the pressure in the turbo, because there are two turbos in this car. If the left-hand turbo is going a little bit low, and he would see this in this gauge, he would switch a switch to adjust, by doing so, the left-hand turbo. The right-hand turbo is adjusted here so that both of them are synchronized, same way as a jet engine. There's a few other points in here that the driver has to address. The roll stiffness. If the car has got too soft a suspension roll in the front, the driver can stiffen that up by turning it to the right, or soften the car off by turning to the left. The brake balance, the ratio from the front brakes to the rear brakes can be changed also, because as the fuel load goes down, the weight distribution changes, and he can adjust the brake balance by doing this. Then, of course, there's the gear shift itself, a 6-speed forward gear shift that he would use all the way around this course. To get into reverse gear, he would have to pull this out so that he doesn't inadvertently engage a reverse gear while going forward.
Here you have your delta time, so compared to your best lap, it'll tell you whether you're plus 0.1 of a second or minus or whatever. Then you can have your speed here, or you can have engine temperature, or whatever you really want on the dashboard. But for me, I just have my lap time and my delta. You have to study this. This is your Bible to understand, to be able to utilize the the diff controls that you have, the engine mixtures, and all those kind of things. And you have to do that whilst you're racing. You shouldn't have to think about it. If you practice a lot in testing on a simulator, the feeling that changes the car in some small way when you're entering the corner, or halfway through the entry of the corner, or you change one bit here and it gives you more understeer or less understeer. So you get used to those kind of things, and you put it into your memory bank and you remember it for the next time.